Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Xavier Smith, and today I'm going to talk about the z-value in statistics. So let's get started with what is a z-value? Well, a z-value basically, it actually exactly says how many standard deviations away from the mean you are. This is useful in many different situations, but mostly useful in normal graphs like bell-shaped curves. So how do we get z? Well, z is equal to value minus mean over standard deviation. So if you had the mean, you do mean minus mean is 0 divided by standard deviation is still 0. So you're 0 standard deviations away. If we're saying the standard deviation is 8 and you had 18 minus the mean of 10 over 8, you'd have 8 over 8 and 1 standard deviation away. You'd get z of 1. So it just tells you how many standard deviations you are away. And if it's negative, then you are left. You are negative standard deviations away. And if you're positive, well, you're positive standard deviations away. Okay, so when we talk about a normal graph, we're talking about this bell shape here. The median is in the middle, and that'll be z equals 0. Then if you go 1 standard deviation either way, you'll get z equals negative 1 and z equals 1. Then you go 2 standard deviations, you'll get z equals negative 2 and z equals 2. Then 3 standard deviations, and so on and so on and so on. You can find, if you get a random point that is not exactly standard deviations away, just find the z-value. Well, there's sometimes you'll get points that are just multiple standard deviations away, and then you can find oh, from this I can say this many points are above the z-value. Well, the value. But you'll get just random values like 194, and you're like, where did that come from? And you will turn it into a z-value, and then you'll put it in this formula. You'll go to your calculator, and you will press second, and then VARS, which is under this little, the up, down, left, right, and then you'll go down or press 2. It'll go down to normal CDF, and then your lower, you're going to want to put a really low number, like negative 1,000. And then your upper is whatever number your z value is. So if you're saying, oh, a z of 1.5, meaning we're 1.5 standard deviations above this thing, this is for normal graphs. That's why we pressed normal CDF. It'll be the same. So 1.5 standard deviations above, it'll tell you all the points that are below it. And then you'll have your mean as 0 and your standard deviation of 1. And then you'll go down and you'll click paste and then enter. And it'll say, oh, 0.9331. That means the probability of something, of a point being lower than 1.5 standard deviations above the mean is 93.3% or 0.933. So that's kind of what you do with the z-value. You just use the z-value to say, okay, this is how many standard deviations above or below the mean we are. And then you can use your calculator to say this many, this is the probability of points being beneath it, or technically you can do above, but I just do beneath, and then you can subtract if you're going above. But you're like, okay, and then this is the probability of a point being beneath this standard deviation on a normal graph. And then you'll just say, okay, if it has to be above, you do 1 minus whatever's beneath it, and you'll get what it's above it. So thank you for watching, and I hope this video was helpful.